Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Today we are going to start with class or lecture 5, which is about the functions of the commercial discourse. Now here when we talk about the functions of the commercial discourse actually, typically we refer to the main purposes that commercial or let's say business related language serves in communication. So, commercial discourse in general, as we all know, includes advertisements, sales pitches, business emails, promotional materials, and other forms of language used in buying, selling, marketing, and promoting goods or services. So, typically, when we talk about the functions of the commercial discourse here, right? Here we can say that the functions of the commercial discourse are the communicative goals that this type of language fulfills in a business or commercial context. So here, actually, we can come up with a variety um, functions here. So the first function that we have at hand here is the content factual information. So when we talk about the content factual information, here we talk about the idea that this discourse contains or encompasses texts about facts, about events, about the processes that are happening and at hand, that have happened or will happen in the future, in the material, as well as in the unreal, let's say, um, environment. So a typical feature of this type, actually, information is its explicit nature, reflecting verbal events at the surface linguistic level. Another function is the so-called content conceptual function. So where information is based on the correlation of the author's modality and the displays of the conceptual picture of the world. So here, the notion author's modality, it can, let's say, refer to the author's attitude or stance toward the subject matter, which is expressed through their choice of words, tone, and degree of certainty or obligation. So, to put it differently, it is about how the author presents what actually they are saying. Are they being assertive, doubtful, neutral, persuasive, or even speculative? So typically, so this is the notion, actually, modality, the author's modality. Actually, we can expand the notion modality here in terms of how this modality can be conveyed. Actually, it can be conveyed via maybe modal verbs, for example. So modal verbs, right? It can be conveyed via modal verbs. So where we have high modality, medium modality, low modality. Also, it can be conveyed via adverbs and adjectives, right? Adverbs and adjectives of certainty, right? Like, for example, when we say undoubtedly, clearly, always, they reflect high modality. Possibly, maybe, sometimes they express low modality. Sometimes the tone and the language choices, formal versus informal, subjective or objective, emotional versus detached modality. So actually here, when we talk about the content conceptual information, it is, as we said, based on the correlation of the author's modality and the displays of the conceptual picture of the world. So this content conceptual information in such type of discourse can be expressed in the title, slogan, as well as in the body copy, which represents the units of different complexity of the subject matter, of the subject matter. Another maybe another function is called the communicative function. So the speech here is basically a way of transferring information between people. It provides an opportunity for the speaker to state his or her intentions and for the receiver to realize what has been said and consequently to react somehow to pay attention to it. So it further seeks to change his behavior or his or her psychological disposition. Moreover, moreover, the communicative function of speech is fulfilled by the fact that the language itself is a system of signs. I mean, arbitrary signs where the conventional relationship between these signs and the references is arbitrary. So the individual is simply cannot communicate otherwise. So in turn, the signs are intended to ensure the transmission of information between interlocutors. So actually, this type of communicative or communication does actually help in determining the nature of this type of intelligibility of discourse path levels. The other function is called phatic or content contact establishing function. Before we get into the content here of how it can function as a commercial content, what do you mean by phatic function? Typically, phatic function of the language refers to communication whose primary purpose is social, let's say, rather than conveying information. So it's about establishing, maintaining, let's say, ending a conversation or social connection. So, as we should know that the notion phatic came from the linguist Roman Jakobson, who identified six functions of language, and the phatic function is one of them and is one of these. So if we apply the idea of the phatic function to a course or discourse in general, especially في educational classroom setting, maybe it can refer to social or relational aspects of the course, language or activities that help build a rapport between students and the teacher, ice breaking, greetings, small talk, or check ins that do not, in general, carry academic content but help establishing a comfortable learning, let's say, environment. So here, let's say, it can have such a level of let's say of interaction like this. يعني على سبيل المثال, if we say uh, a teacher saying مثلا, how's everyone doing today? At the start of the class, maybe the students chatting about their weekend before the lesson begins. So a teacher using humor or casual remarks to ease tension during a difficult topic, during a difficult topic. So typically, dear students, here when we talk about the phatic between two parentheses, contact establishing function. It helps to create a correct advertising text, which whose producer has information about the target audience, which is a potential consumer of the advertiser product, and the addressee of the text created. This is at the commercial or advertising level. So it can encompass, it can shed light upon different levels of, let's say, of information processing or phatic function, like the political preferences, biographical information, decision making processes, demographic information like age, gender, race, religion, economic income, cultural preferences, and other data are considered as criteria for the target audience. Maybe it can also include advertising texts that are constructed in such a way as to correspond as much as possible to the recipient's picture of the world. Also, it applies both to the formal structure of the text and to the content, which appeals to spiritual, cultural, moral, and other worldwide stereotypes that, I mean, universal, that are imminent to the mentality of the targeted audience, which is assigned. Also, other function is the persuasive function, where we have a kind of persuading tools to support the topic idea or the topic sentence initiated by the speaker or the writer. So one of the acceptable elements of the communicative and the pragmatic component of the text. So it means to embody the attraction function, the commercial discourse, which are a variety of eye stoppers, خلينا نسميهم, elements fixing the view, the role of which is primarily used images, as well as various types of font and coloring, as well as advertising in general. Okay. Let's say, what can we talk about in terms of the characteristics of the discourse related to business to business in general? We can say that it is stable, standardized for communication among individuals, institutions, and states. So we can say that it is a protocol. We can say that it is a protocol based flow of conversation and language processing. And also, it requires precision, objectivity, clarity, and conciseness. So, these different terms, precision, where there is a kind of strict equivalence between the form and the meaning, objectivity where there is no bias at all, a clarity where, let's say, semantics plays a major role in determining the meaning without having you, let's say, too much synonymity, antonymy, and so on and so forth. And the conciseness in terms of the reference or references in general and how they work together. And also, it avoids ambiguity, imagery, and emotionality, which are, characteristics of course, they are characteristics of science, let's say, scientific fiction genres. Okay. Also, across among other genres, we can say that brevity and compactness of language are very important features of such a discourse, because the notion of brevity and compactness in commercial text بشكل أساسي refer to the use of concise, efficient, purposeful language to convey or deliver a clear message quickly with no unnecessary words. So there is a kind of element to element protocol of language production, which actually can avoid brevity, compactness of language. So the commercial or in commercial context, like ads, product descriptions, slogans, business emails, the brevity or compactness are indispensable because audience intention or attention is limited. الكلاريتي بشكل أساسي sells, because we talk about selling and so on and so forth. The space is often limited. The professional image is needed. لما نحكي عن professional image يعني we mean إنه البريف sharp language signals confidence في الconfidence, وبالتالي في competence. So in brevity we say that using the fewest possible words to express the idea. Compactness means tightly structuring language so that every word carries meaning with no, let's say, with no ambiguity at all. So this is very important to know the meaning and the references for such a form like brevity. It is standardized format and obligatory clashes. So when we say that it's standardized, we mean that all the, let's say, all the differences, alterations, they are leveled out, and the, let's say, dissimilarities are covered. So the overall product is leveled out, and it is similar, and contains the same form. Also, we have high usage of terminology. When we say high usage of terminology, we mean, let's say, high usage of terminology and, let's say, nomenclature, incorporation of specialized vocabulary, and phraseology. يمكن we can focus upon the notion of phraseology as, let's say, the study of fixed expressions or word combinations that are commonly used in language. So these expressions often carry meanings that go beyond the literal meaning of the individual words. So in general, we can say that phraseology refers to the branch, which it is a branch of linguistics that deals with the structure, meaning, and use of set of phrases, idioms, collocations, and other formulaic expressions in the language. So we have, let's say, idioms, which are collocations, phrasal verbs, fixed or semi-fixed expressions. So these actually represent the notion phraseology in determining the characteristics of a discourse. Okay. Okay. So here, lexical composition. How it is structured? How is it structured? At the lexical level, it is dominated by terms as well as domain-specific vocabulary. So it is a register like language production. It has specialized vocab, often functions in fixed expressions with no images at all, with no imagery at all. Okay. Thank you for listening, and let's stop here. See you next time.